When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Oh, I thought the beast had wandered off.
You're missing the point. There's no throne. There is no version of this where you come out on top.
Let me infiltrate the beat, concentrate the heat. If you ain't on my level, fuck it, let me be. I'll be going till it's all in motion, talking killing rappers, then I hit my quota. And my train of thought is more a locomotive, talking reason for it, I got locomotives. Used to be on a revenge tip, on a stun on my ex and a friend's tip. I was Spider-Man whipping the black suit, I was powerful but almost lost Luke. Blurring the line between human and artist, try not to change but I swear it's the hardest. I swear when you're up they turn you to a target. Home was a trip, all I did when I'm talking. So, what it take to be an icon? All in your desktop, so I just might already be one. My me with the label, it feels on the table one sign, but I'm down for a free lunch. Just speaking my heat-seeking missiles of hits, but other than me, I see no heat exist. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green. I might begin making a feature a rack. Cause when I hit your beat, I turn shit to Iraq. Dropping bombs like I'm cursing you out. This your house, then I'm kicking you out. Quiet as a mouse, came in the game, now the word is out that I've been lighting the flame. Shit is potent, don't you know it? I've been flowing, steady growing till they know the name. Saw it ahead of time, knew that I'd get to my losing myself in the view that some with no pain. I swear I'm all about peace, I'm a positive person. Wasn't always like that, you know it took me some learning. They asked me how I push a positive light, how I keep my composure through internal fights when addressing the mic through these dark nights. Where the Bruce Wayne, what a trick be. Here's some truth that I'll let free, Bruce Banner of rap if you ask me. When my will to win and the track meet, the secret is I'm always angry. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green.
When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Oh, I thought the beast had wandered off.
You're missing the point. There's no throne. There is no version of this where you come out on top.
Let me infiltrate the beat, concentrate the heat. If you ain't on my level, fuck it, let me be. I'll be going till it's all in motion, talking killing rappers, then I hit my quota. And my train of thought is more a locomotive, talking reason for it, I got locomotives. Used to be on a revenge tip, on a stun on my ex and a friend's tip. I was Spider-Man whipping the black suit, I was powerful but almost lost Luke. Blurring the line between human and artist, try not to change but I swear it's the hardest. I swear when you're up they turn you to a target. Home was a trip, all I did when I'm talking. So, what it take to be an icon? All in your desktop, so I just might already be one. My me with the label, it feels on the table one sign, but I'm down for a free lunch. Just speaking my heat-seeking missiles of hits, but other than me, I see no heat exist. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green. I might begin making a feature a rack. Cause when I hit your beat, I turn shit to Iraq. Dropping bombs like I'm cursing you out. This your house, then I'm kicking you out. Quiet as a mouse, came in the game, now the word is out that I've been lighting the flame. Shit is potent, don't you know it? I've been flowing, steady growing till they know the name. Saw it ahead of time, knew that I'd get to my losing myself in the view that some with no pain. I swear I'm all about peace, I'm a positive person. Wasn't always like that, you know it took me some learning. They asked me how I push a positive light, how I keep my composure through internal fights when addressing the mic through these dark nights. Where the Bruce Wayne, what a trick be. Here's some truth that I'll let free, Bruce Banner of rap if you ask me. When my will to win and the track meet, the secret is I'm always angry. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green.
Hey y'all, I'm about to go green up in this. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. RicoKnows, you guys know the deal. We talk the transfer portal, we talk college football, but sometimes I like to give you guys advice on life. It's just who I am. And I want to start off the show with this monologue to talk about what today is. It's a very significant day in a lot of young men's lives. Today is National Letter of Intent Day. And for those of you who don't know, I'd imagine you wouldn't be watching this channel. But for those of you who do know, it's a pretty big day. But those of you who don't know, I'll break it down for you. National Letter of Intent Day. It's the day high schoolers determine where they're going to college. They make a commitment. Now, in recent days, in recent years, this doesn't mean that much. But I want to talk to people who may be going through it today. It just kind of dawned on me because I was just asked the question about 10 minutes before the show started. I'm over here, if you guys don't know, I'm on TikTok Live, and I'm talking to some of the followers and some of the viewers, and a young man asked me, hey, Rico, tell me about your first heartbreak. And my first heartbreak had to deal with a high school sweetheart and things of that nature. But what I wanted to tell them is, as I was reflecting on the story, I thought about the part of the story that was the most heartbreaking. And that was when I found out I wasn't eligible to play college football. When I found out I didn't get approved by the clearinghouse, which you guys now know is the eligibility center, I didn't have the grades. Now, I'm a cyber expert, worked for the NSA for the last 10 years, military intelligence on top of the chart, off the charts intelligence. I'm incredibly smart. I am a college graduate. I have a bachelor's degree, magna cum laude, 3.96 GPA, all this stuff. But before that, before I ever focused and dedicated myself to being the intelligent person that I am, I was just a kid. People always said, oh, you have so much potential. And as a kid, you hear that, it feels good. It's like a dopamine hit. But all that means is you're not good enough. If you have so much potential, you're not good enough because you don't actually have what they're looking for. You have the potential to get there. It's like a football player. Well, he's a prospect. He has potential to get on the field. He has potential to see playing time. No. Who are the starters? Who are the people in the game? All right? I had a 2.2 GPA, cumulative core GPA, 2.45 over the top. And 2.45, I was playing sports. I was graduating high school. I was fine, but I wasn't what I needed to be. And as I was reflecting on the story, I thought about, well, my goal was always 2.0. My goal was never 3.0, 4.0. If it was, I would have got it. Like if I put my mind to anything, I go out and I achieve it. I'm that great. But at some point in my life, I came to the realization, potential's not enough. You got to actually do it and be it. I have the potential to be great at certain things in my life. I can remember when I was talking sports with people at work, just like a normal dude, like at work. You're doing a debate at work on a break room somewhere. We'd be talking sports, and I would just demolish somebody because I knew more than them. Because I could retain more information. I was factually based. I would just, any argument you had, I'd be like, what? Jerry Rice, the best receiver of all time. Are you crazy? And I just started going ham. Shout out to Randy Moss. But at some point, somebody will look at you and go, man, you have the potential to be a superstar. You have the potential to be famous for doing this. You have the potential to make a living streaming. I can remember when they would tell me that. Having the potential isn't enough. And you think as you go through life, you would have that realization, like, potential doesn't cut it, bruh. I need actual production. I need to be great. But even when I wasn't academically qualified to go to college, and I got my opportunity to go to a JUCO, it was the JUCO down the street from where I grew up. Everybody made fun of it. I didn't respect the opportunity. I can remember enrolling in my classes and dropping them within the semester. Just didn't go to class. There's nothing stopping me. Just didn't want to go. Found it boring. I went to practice. Coach would ask me, hey, man, what are you doing here? How are you doing in class? Oh, yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm not even going. I just want to come work out. Then I went to the rec and played basketball. Like, I ignored the requirements to be great because I just listened to the dopamine hit. I just listened to, oh, you have potential. And I'd like to tell you guys that you overcome that mindset, but it's going to be that way for your whole life. Your whole life. It wasn't too long ago, I was sitting in my living room I think a year or two ago, 2 years ago. I'm 39 years old, sitting in my living room of my apartment. My father lives with me. Think about that. I'm making six figures. I'm making six figures. Successful as all hell. I live in an apartment with my dad at 39. I didn't live in an apartment with my dad at 19. I had my own place at 18 years old. I really did. No roommates, nobody to help me. It was just me. And I look back on that, and this wasn't the 1980s and 90s and 70s. This was the year 2000. 2001, 2002, I got my own place, bro. This shit they tell you nobody can do. They tell you, oh, you can't do that in today's society. Yes, you can. I did it. And I look back, though, and I realized I was sitting in this living room with my father about 2 years ago. We were watching a track meet. And we were watching the track meet, and I started telling him about everybody on the track. Everybody. Oh, that guy, this is his PR, this guy ran this is what he used to do, this is what he did, this is where he went to high school, this is what, oh, he won 2 races 2 weeks ago. I'm just giving him a synopsis of every single runner on the track. Then the announcers come in with people in their ear, with the whole team behind them, and they start talking about the athletes. And they're rehashing everything I just talked about. They're touching on a couple of talking points of everything I just said. And my father looks over at me, having never watched a track meet with me before. And he says, Rick, that's what he calls me, he cuts off the O. He says, yo, Rick, you can do this. You can do this. You're better than these guys on the TV. I showed him some podcasts of guys talking about track meets. He says, Rico, you know it better than them. And those are the guys that Mile Split pays? Those are the guys that are on track. Like, who are these guys? I said, well, Dad, they got 300,000 views. He's like, you're better than them. And I didn't have a TikTok. I didn't have an online presence. He was telling me I have potential. But I did nothing with it. I did nothing. Nothing came to fruition when he's telling me this. It was just good enough for me. It was just like, oh, yeah, I know I'm the man. Yeah, I'm the man. When people tell you you have potential, just remember, it doesn't mean shit, dude. You got to go do something with it. So all you young men today who don't get that college offer, you're not signing on the dotted line with a team, you're a late qualifier, you're not getting your dream fulfilled. But anyone who sees you run a route, sees you make a tackle, make a catch, make a pass, tells you you got potential. Just remember, you ain't shit unless you want to do something about it. I'll never forget when I first made my accounts and started pursuing this profession. I talk about it all the time, and there's people who think I'm bragging about my income and I'm bragging about my level of success. I am not. I am trying to inspire people watching me to understand that I made 1,000 videos before I ever made $1. I had to fail 1,000 times to be sitting here in front of you today. I had to fail over and over and over again to be right here right now. If I didn't fail, I'd be a sergeant major in the Army. But if I didn't fail, I would have never been in the Army. Like, you got to think about it from a different perspective. I am the end result and the accumulation of failures. The immense amount of failures in my life, if you add them all together and sum them together, I'm sitting in front of you. A man who doesn't worry about his next paycheck. A man who doesn't worry about the roof over his head. I have failed time and time again, so you will fail in your life. And there are young men reaching out to me in my DMs all day saying, Rico, I need an offer. I'm panicking. I got parents reaching out to me, Rico, you need to help me. My kid's not going to make it. Everybody's going to make it. It's just to what degree do you want to make it? Where are you going to make it to? Some of you are going to be insurance salesmen. Some of you are going to be plumbers. Some of you are going to be construction workers. Some of you are going to join the Army. But you're going to make it. It's just to what degree and what extent. And at what point in your life are you going to make your dreams come reality? Like, at what point in your life are you going to be great? That's all I want to know. It took me a long time. It took me a long time. But here we are. I feel amazing. I feel great. And I know that when I look back on this, I'm going to think to myself, I never made it. I never made it, man. I hope you young people understand life is long. Don't let people tell you life is short. Don't let people tell you life is short. How about the opposite? You have a ton of time to figure it out. Life is long. These years are going to be long and hard and difficult. I tell people all the time, I had this budget on a piece of paper figured out. When I got my own apartment at 18, I had it all figured out. And I said, man, I'm clearing $600 a month. $600 a month. If I do this for the next 10 months, I'm going to have $6,000. Let's go. And that first month, flat tire. Next month, somebody broke into my truck and stole all my tools. Next month, girlfriend breaks up with me. I'm out of a necklace. Next month, cell phone drops and breaks. I can't catch a break. Get a speeding ticket. I can't catch a break. Life is hard. That's what it is, bro. That's adulthood. Welcome to it. Now, the older you get, the more expensive lessons will be. Let me make that very clear. The older you get, the more expensive lessons will be. You can learn a lesson at a very young age right now. And you can recover, and it's not the end of the world. But I'm telling you, I make decisions, and they can be monumentally worse than anything you could have experienced at 17, 18, 19 years old. Just remember that, guys. Grind hard. It's an unfortunate day for some of you. Some of you aren't going to get your dreams. You aren't going to get what you envisioned. I want to tell you, I talked to a young man, and he said, Rico, I was going to go to BYU, but I took too long to commit. They're signing somebody else out of the transfer portal. So then I called up San Jose State, and I took too long to call them up. They found somebody else, so now I have to go to the FCS. And I'm really mad about it. Low-key, he wrote, low-key, I'm mad about it. Now, I understand vernacular is different. I understand people say different things. But what he means is, don't let anybody else know, but I'm upset about it. And I just wrote back to him and said, everybody's journey is different, bro. I don't like to say everything happens for a reason. But I will tell you that you're going to do just fine. You're going to be just fine. Life happens. Don't stress it, bro. Easy for me to say. I'm 40-something years old, and all my dreams are over. But my first heartbreak was realizing I wasn't going to be at the next level because I was good enough. Because I know I'm better than the people I saw on TV. Because I knew I was better and smarter than anybody at it multiple times in my life. Right now, I'm going to be talking transfer portal, and I know I'm better than people that talk about the transfer portal. I know I'm better than anyone at the recruiting websites that talks about recruiting. Like, I know I'm better, but I'm not there. But I also think I make more money than them. So why should I be upset about it? Because we just want more in life. So, sorry for the rant. Thanks for being here, guys. We're going to get started on the show. First thing I want to tell you guys is we're going to be talking offensive linemen in the transfer portal. But when I start a show, I want to talk to you guys about MVPs. Shout out to the MVPs. If you're on YouTube, it's really easy. You can go to the membership tab on my homepage. You can click join. You see this little button right here, join. Sometimes on your cell phone, you won't see join. You need to go to a web browser. Don't use the app. Go to the internet, Safari, search YouTube. You'll be able to see join. You join, become a member of the channel. When you talk and chat here on the show, your name will come up in different colors. I'm looking right now. We have chat. If I pull up the chat window here, let me show you guys. You see the green there? Jabron Fuller? That is a full-blown MVP with the little badge there. See the dark? That means multiple months. That's a dark badge. That's pretty good. The badge will turn blue, eventually gold, things like that. Willie Bobo, shout out to Willie B. Willie Bobo is a beast, y'all. And he's one of my moderators. And you see how everybody else isn't a member. So I'm just showing you what it looks like when you're a member. Most importantly, if you become an MVP, you'll get my fight night picks. I provide a video on every single fight of the UFC. You guys see it here, members only, members only. Every single one of these videos I've made in the last week. 7 days, 8 days. These are all, ever since I got back on, so 8 days. In the last 8 days, I've created all these videos. You won't see them anywhere else, only if you're an MVP. And these tell you the picks. These tell you who's going to win the fights. I do it for, you see it in here, some of this stuff is Grey Cup. I've got the Heisman Trophy winner, the National Championship winner. How many games will Alabama win next season? How many games will Colorado win next season? The Grey Cup. All this stuff is very valuable to gamblers, to people who bet. I have it all here. NFL Draft, who to bet on, who's going to go number 1 overall, things like that. I make videos, and we have a fight card on Saturday. I'm providing every single fight, a video for every single one. Starting tomorrow, I start making those videos. So if you want to be an MVP, this is how you do it. Another way to do it is to go to Patreon. Patreon is the joint. Go to Patreon, join it. We have about 3,500 members on Patreon. You can be a free member. If you're a free member, you get access to the free podcast videos, the one I'm recording now. You get access to certain free bets. They're down here. The free bets. Dude, I give away free bets every week. If you're a free member, you'll get them. Now, if you're an MVP, you're going to get the good stuff. I've made 43 UFC fight videos. Futures bets, I've made 9 videos. This is all for MVPs. You got to learn how to set up your Discord. You get to the Discord server, they're giving out every pick in the world. If you go to the Discord server, that's these guys right here, and they're giving out every pick in the Splash House. These are the guys that are betting on, you see it, NHL, basketball, NBA. Some nights they hit, some nights they don't. I see a lot of hits. Look at that NBA night they did there. They pushed on one, and they went ham on the rest. If you want picks on everything, show up to the Discord server. You can't show up, you won't be able to see these channels. All these have locks on them. You got to be an MVP. If you show up to the Discord server and all you see are these 5 channels, you're not an MVP. You got to learn how to connect your Discord server. You go in here, how to connect to Discord. There is a message right here, a link. Click on it. Go watch the videos. How to connect to Discord. Click on the link. It'll teach you. Connect it. Whether you're on YouTube or on Patreon, you can connect to the Discord server. Come get your picks. They're there. But I've already started future bets. That means I've already told you what's going to happen in 2024. We're jumping on it early. We're going to be doing March Madness, everything else. So become a member of the channel. Become an MVP. On YouTube, we have about 550 members. We've been up to as many as 1,500 when we're in season. But out of season, we do UFC every single week. There's a fight card every Saturday. We pick the fights, pick the winners. We just went 8-4 this past weekend. If you didn't know, let me try to see if I can find it here. Here it is. Check it out. This is, well, that's college football. We went 59% on the season against the spread. But fight night, getting ready for the next one. We're currently 28-18 on the season at 60%. That's what we're at on the season. You go out there, understand we're 11-4 on leans, 6-4 on locks. UFC betting is very different. 5-4 on value bets. That means picking underdogs to win. We're above 500 in every single category. Get at me. This is what I do. I analyze fights. I analyze players. I analyze matchups. Welcome to it. I am RicoKnows. Become a member. Become an MVP, and we'll talk. Now, for today's show, we're talking offensive line. Offensive linemen are very difficult to talk about for a couple of reasons. Number one, offensive linemen don't have stats like you would envision. They have things like they allowed sacks or hurries or pressures, but it's all kind of subjective. Like there are times PFF, Pro Football Focus, will say a particular player allowed X amount of hurries or pressures, and then you go back and watch the play and you're like, that's a reach. It doesn't really line up. It doesn't work for me. And so I just want you guys to be aware of that. So when I talk about offensive linemen, there isn't much to say sometimes. Then sometimes there is, like the backstory, how many games they've started, whether or not they changed positions, how they fit on their new team. Offensive lineman is not a sexy subject at all. It's definitely essential. But what I've recognized from the transfer portal is teams assess offensive linemen differently. Like certain teams really struggle with it. I'll give you an example. Colorado last year, when they brought in all their new offensive linemen, none of them were anything like they envisioned. Not a single one. They had a very difficult time assessing offensive lineman talent. And now this year, they went ahead and did it, and they're doing great. They've gotten much better players, theoretically, till we see them on the field. There are certain teams that are just recycling players. They're just signing other known names from other teams And these guys have never been on the field. You're going to see some transfers, never been on the field, never played anywhere. Yet they keep getting offers from other places. It's difficult to assess. It's really hard to know. And the reason for this is offensive linemen don't rotate like other players on the field. They are rotating wide receivers, defensive linemen, linebackers, secondary members, running backs. We obviously know quarterbacks from their high school tape. We know quarterbacks from getting, being able to play, maybe getting some time in junk time. But offensive linemen do not rotate. You find your starters, you put them out there, and the only time a guy comes out is if he's injured or sucks. We're not rotating it. We don't have a bunch of different packages. That's not how it works. Offensive linemen stay out there, grind and do their thing. So if that's the case, you're not going to know many backup offensive linemen who didn't get to play. They hit the portal. What do you know about them? Why do they have such notoriety? It's going to be from a high school recruiting evaluation, if you will. It's going to be from a size or metric requirement. It's not always going to be about how well were they on the field. It's just a gamble. They're bringing in guys and they're hoping they're better than the guys they got. And I'd imagine most of these teams know what linemen they have on their team, and they know an upgrade when they see it. That's probably the harshest thing to say about the offensive lineman is if they're bringing in guys to your team, they don't like who they have. You're not it. So I'll be talking about them starting now. I will start with the enrolled linemen. Now, this list grows every single day because they're finally confirming whether or not these players have enrolled in their school. I have my database in front of me to confirm whether or not I talked about a player on a previous episode because there is a lot of people to cycle through and shift through. Typically, I talk anywhere between 25 and 35 players. After about 10, I go to the chat. So if you have any questions or comments about a particular offensive lineman, drop it in, or a question about offensive line in general. Drop it in the chat. If you're watching on TikTok, I don't see your comments, so move over to YouTube. But more importantly, when you drop it in, don't say, oh yeah, he is good. I'll never know who you're talking about. Oh, what do you think about him? I think he might start. I don't know who he is. Write it all the way out. Don't say they, them. Spell out the team name, things of that nature, all right? So just a heads up there. Because by the time I get to the comment, it'll be 30 minutes after I was talking about players. So we'll start at the top of the list here. Lance Hurd at the very top, former 5-star offensive lineman. Coming out of high school, they told me he was like the 4th or 5th best tackle. I have no idea. And once again, these are not in order by rank. 24/7 will claim they're in order by rank, but their assessment and the way they rank players is gross. They're not in order. Not even remotely close to being in order of skill. Nope. Not it. They're in order by how they evaluated them coming out of high school, and that is that. Now, they'll say they made him a T. You see the T here next to it? That means we reevaluated him as a transfer, and then they rank him. But you got a guy like Ferguson who couldn't play at Alabama, and a guy like Seth McLaughlin who actually started at Alabama for 2 years. Same rank. It's disgusting. It's just they want to tell you Florida State got a good player, but I don't know what you're talking about. That's how I feel about this whole thing. It's just garbage. Like Parker here. Parker, we're going to talk about Parker, but I'm going to talk about Lance real quick. I'll get to Parker and then we'll talk about Lance. So Lance, out of Monroe, he's a Monroe kid, out of Monroe, Louisiana. Not a bad kid by any means, but saying he's the top offensive lineman in the portal is a stretch. Played in 12 games this season. He only started one. Started one at LSU, and the reality is LSU had 2 starting tackles. 2 of them. They're both sophomores, Will Campbell and Emory. Emory Jones. And Will Campbell and Emory Jones are coming back next year. So this is a kid who couldn't start at LSU, and now we magically got to pretend he's the best tackle in the transfer portal. No, he's a good player, good recruit, good prospect to get. 6'6", 340. 4 years of eligibility left, or 3 years of eligibility left because he played in every game, but he wasn't going to start. Nope. Going to Tennessee, I think he's in the running to start at Tennessee. They need linemen. He looks like he'll be able to start there. Congratulations. Cool. Congrats. It is what it is. Parker Brailsford. Hey. Parker Brailsford, coming out of high school, was still respected, bro. Still respected. He was 6'2", 265. You heard me right. That's the size of Mike Webster coming out of, used to be the Steelers center for Terry Bradshaw. 6'2", 265. Parker Brailsford is still a projected NFL draft pick. Still the beast of all beasts. It doesn't matter how small he is. Now, he's gained 10 pounds since he's been at Washington. He started all 15 games for Washington. 2 games at right guard, and then he moved to center. Mateo Mele got injured for the season, done for the year. And so once you get an injury for the season, you got to find somebody. And they go and find Parker. And I'm telling you, man, for my bang for my buck, pound for pound, Parker Brailsford is a stud center. Stud. As a matter of fact, do you guys know Troy Fautanu? Troy Fautanu, he's the best offensive lineman at Washington this past season. He won the Morris Trophy. Morris Trophies for best offensive lineman in the Pac-12. He's going to the NFL. And he wrote on Twitter, Parker Brailsford, best center in America. Best center in the country. Pound for pound, one of the strongest guys on the team. Just a stud. And shout out to Scott Huff, the offensive line coach at Washington, now at Alabama. You got your best player, your best young player to show up. He's a humble dude, and he's going to replace, Seth had to leave. He's replacing Seth McLaughlin. This is a good center, man. He makes great calls on the line. You watch him. He's undersized, but my God, does he get under your pad level and rock you. Like, he's good. Love the tape. It's a stud. Alabama has a stud center going into next season. That is a starter for multiple years. Lance Hurd is ranked ahead of him, and he's not a starter for multiple years. Lance Hurd is potentially going to be a starter. It's just different levels to this shit. It's nuts. TJ's up next. Terrence, I don't know if it's Terrence Ferguson Jr., but they call him TJ. He's from Peach County, from Georgia. Shout out to Peach County. If you're from Georgia, I watched you play in high school because I watch every single team in Georgia. 2 years of eligibility left, leaving Alabama, going to Florida State. If you guys didn't know, Terrence Ferguson on his high school team, who did they play with? He had Chief Borders on his team for sure. That's the linebacker that's now at Nebraska, transferred from Florida. But Terrence Ferguson was not doing well at Alabama. 116 snaps total. I haven't seen much from him. He's a huge man, 6'4", 320. I don't like these transfers. If you couldn't start at one school, you can't start at the other. If you can't get on the field, Alabama's offensive line struggled, and you still couldn't get on the field, I don't buy it, man. I'm not here for it. So congratulations to him. He's a very big guard. I don't know if he starts this year and dominates, but next year, probably going to do well. Probably going to do well his final year. But the move doesn't feel good for me. Good news for Florida State. A lot of credit goes to TJ for recruiting the Alabama players to join Florida State. 5 Alabama players moved over to Florida State. He is a big part of that. He was an advocate for it, talking to all the players. Roydell Williams talked about it, and some others. Excuse me, my stream over here needs me to validate that I'm a person and doing the puzzle piece thing. Apologize. So, by the way, if you see me skipping, guys, it's because I talked about him in previous episodes. Seth, I talked about in the second episode. Offensive lineman, second episode. If you want to hear about him, go to the second episode. J.C. Davis, first episode. Now we're on Percy Lewis. Leaving Mississippi State, going to Auburn. You guys, Percy Lewis, straight out of Mississippi, 6'8", 345 pounds. Listen to those numbers again. 6'8", 345. Enormous. Go turn on the high school tape. I watched the high school tape. 90 tackles his senior year. 90 tackles. 3 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Watching his tape, he's a defensive tackle and a tight end on his tape. 6'8", 345. Enormous man. Ended up going JUCO out of high school. Ended up going to Mississippi Gulf Coast. Was there for 2 seasons, then transferred to Mississippi State. Now he's going to Auburn. Here's what I'm going to say. I didn't see a guy that I think starts every single game for Auburn. I think he's depth. I think he's the right size. They probably want him at tackle. But I saw a guy who went to Mississippi State 2022, was only in 6 games. This last year he started 5 games, or he started after the first 5 games. So 2023 starts. Percy's on the bench, not a starter for the first 5 games, and then he became a starter towards the end of the season. So he earned his way on. Once coach was fired, remember Zach Arnett got fired. They were struggling as a team. He finally got to start, and now he's going to Auburn. Auburn offensive line was actually patchwork together. So, a bunch of transfers, 4 transfers. 2 of them came from Tulsa. Philip Montgomery was the offensive coordinator. He got fired. He was the former Tulsa head coach. One of his linemen that he brought in was Dylan Wade. And Dylan Wade's playing tackle for Auburn last year. And Dylan Wade's only 6'3". You got a guy now, 6'8", 345. 6'8" comes really long arms. They want to move Dylan Wade on the inside. I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Wade moved to guard and Percy Lewis was a starting tackle moving forward this season. Just an assessment on my part. I'm not going to say a guess. It's just the way I look at it. It's the only way I see a fit working here. I don't know how else they convinced this young man to come to this team, but I'm telling you guys, if you're not a bona fide starter at Mississippi State, how the hell are you a bona fide starter at Auburn? I don't get it. I don't get it. Sure, 6'8", 345, you say to yourself, I can mold that kid. Good luck. I think he's a decent player, though. Not bad. Good depth, if anything. And if you want to talk about a team just stacking up depth, we're going to get to it, but that's what Ole Miss is doing like crazy. Zach Carpenter, talked about him in the first episode. Next 3 guys, I talked about all of them in the second episode. And then we're on Devon Manuel, leaving Arkansas, going to Florida. I'm going to say something about Florida that I haven't said normally. Now, Florida's probably not going to win a lot of games this upcoming season. I think I have them winning like 4 games. Okay? But Florida's offensive line, they're learning something real fast. You cannot take leftovers from Alabama, from Georgia, from Florida State, and just let them and think that they're good enough to start for you. They're not. They were taking guys who had never seen the field at the bigger schools and just signing them because, hey, man, they had to be good. They got evaluated by that coaching staff. They're good. No, they weren't good. The players they were signing were terrible. So now this season, they go and get Brandon Crenshaw Dickinson. He's not on here. Oh, yeah, he is. He's all the way down here. Right? Crenshaw Dickinson down here. A really good football player from San Diego State who actually plays, starts, okay? Stud. Well, same thing here. They got a guy in Devon Manuel who actually plays. Now, he didn't rate that great, but he plays. Played in 9 games, started 4 of them at left tackle. This guy's 6'9", 310 with 2 years of eligibility left. I think in 2 years, he's going to be a great starting tackle for whoever the next head coach is at Florida. I think it's incredible. I think it's pretty damn awesome that he's showing up, and they're trying to recruit players that have actually played. Now, it's Arkansas. You allowed a bunch of sacks. You run, and pass blocking rating is low, but it is what it is. You found a guy that's actually seen the field. A&M getting some quality linemen. Look at this, 3 of them. Boom. This is not mean that A&M got 3 guys all ranked the same. What this means is 24/7 doesn't know that I'm going to sort it by offensive linemen. So when you look at the whole chart, this is just where they plug in A&M linemen. Like, that's how it works. This is where A&M linemen go by default, right here. They're not all equivalent. They're all pretty decent, though. I'll tell you that. Reed Adams, 2 years of eligibility left. Reed Adams is 6'5", 325 pounds from DeSoto, Texas. Now, he wasn't always at DeSoto. He actually transferred there, and then that was his senior year. But this is a man who used to play at guard and tackle. He's very versatile, playing for Kansas. 13 games in 2022, 0 starts. I went back and tried to find him. I'm like, man, they said he played in 13 games in 2022. I'm looking everywhere, 0 starts. 2023, starting at guard and then right tackle in November due to an injury. Shout out to Bryce Cabaldu. Bryce Cabaldu got injured, and that made Adams move over to right tackle. But that's pretty good, what's the word, versatility. Shout out to this young man. When I turned on the tape, I saw him at wide receiver at one point. He was in the slot, and he goes in motion. That's how athletic he is. 6'5", 325. He goes in motion while he was just going to be an extra blocker for the run play. Lays out a linebacker. If you want to see it, it's in a Texas Tech game. Texas Tech versus Kansas, laying somebody out. So it is what it is. He is probably the biggest loss in the portal for Kansas. Like Gage Keys left. He's at Auburn. I don't think very highly of Gage Keys. I think it's a dumb move anyways. Gage Keys, defensive tackle, he was in the rotation. Might have been a starter coming up, but Reed Adams is a starter, and he's leaving Kansas. Probably their biggest loss in the portal. Kansas did not lose much in the portal. I actually think Kansas is a sleeper in the Big 12. Kansas is definitely top 3 in the Big 12 for me. I think they're a sleeper. I have a problem with anybody disrespecting Kansas. They're right up there with Arizona, K-State. Yeah, those stick out to me a lot. And I know a lot of people are like, what about Colorado? Like, I love Colorado, bro. But until it happens, I can't go in there and say that. I look at Kansas, Devin Neal, Jalen Daniels. Kansas is real. And they didn't lose much in the portal. Continuity's great. And Lance Leopold's a proven coach. Dorian Hinton leaving FAU, going to Texas A&M. Hinton is a full-blown starter. Started every game at FAU, and his PFF ratings are off the chart. Maybe because he's playing against nobody. It's FAU. Playing up against a bunch of Conference USA dudes. Or is it American? No, it's Conference USA. FAU plays a bad brand of football, or at least they did. They played against bad opponents. But Dorian Hinton can start. He's a good player. Going to A&M, that's good depth, good competition. Hopefully he gets a chance to start. It's his final year of eligibility. 6'4", 317. I like Hinton. I don't know about the move to A&M. They're probably looking at him as a depth piece. They don't care. They just got to get people in. But he did start every single game this last year for FAU and played well. Derek Graham, leaving Troy, going to A&M, really surprised me. I thought he was going to go to a different school. Ohio State and Missouri were interested in him. You see him here. He just got a star added to his name because he was a 2-star kid. That's what they do to Troy kids coming out of high school. You come out of high school, you go to Troy, you get 2 stars. You leave Troy, go to a Power 5 school, you get an extra star. I think they're really giving him extra stars because he had an offer from Ohio State and Missouri. But seeing a young man who's been at Troy for 4 years, still has 2 years of eligibility left, and I think he's got a chance, man. He caught a touchdown in the bowl game against Duke. Go back and watch it. He looks athletic. I like to see these offensive linemen doing other things, but this is the very first true freshman starting offensive lineman at Troy in the history of the school. They never had a true freshman start a game. He did it. He played in 38 games while at Troy. The only alarming part is he only started 24. So you played as a true freshman, but at some point you weren't in the starting lineup throughout the last couple of years. That's a problem. But they could just be injuries. But he did play in a ton of games and then didn't start in some. So kind of worrisome there. Darrell Simmons, I think it's a bad transfer. One of the worst I've seen in the offensive line. Darrell Simmons leaving Iowa State, going to Kansas. Kansas doesn't need you, buddy, and you don't bring anything to them. This is a kid from East St. Louis, Illinois. It's a kid who played at Iowa State in 2019. High-level high school tape. Like the tape. But I'm telling you, 24 games the last 2 years, a terrible PFF rating, and he lost his starting job to a true freshman this year. Shout out to Brendan Black. So once Black takes the true freshman job from him or takes a starting job from him, I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? You lost your starting job. You played a career low in snaps this season. I think this season he only played 142 snaps. And what are you doing? That's just dumb. You don't go leave Iowa State. Now, if you just want to be a part of a winning culture and a better team, then you do this. But as far as like starter reps and being the guy, I don't know. I don't see it. If it happens, congratulations. I don't see it. What does that say about Iowa State? Does that say Iowa State's a perennial power? One of their backups can come start at Kansas? I don't buy it, bro. Terrible move, IMO, in my opinion. Next guy talked about, let me double check something. Next guy, Khalil Benson, talked about him in the first episode. All these guys I talked about in the second episode, Cunningham and the boys. Oh, Keelan Rutledge. Leaving Middle Tennessee State, going to Georgia Tech. What a great get for Georgia Tech. This is a man who was a permanent team captain at Middle Tennessee State. Been there, multi-year starter. Okay, I love what he's doing. The guard position at Georgia Tech is open. Connor, how do you say his name? Scaglione. He just graduated, so now we have an opening, and this kid's got it. Go watch his high school tape. He's a tight end, offensive lineman, defensive lineman. All three on the tape. He looks athletic. He looks good. He played at Franklin County, very small school here in Georgia, 1A football. But he's 6'4", 308, and I think it's just cool coming back home to play. Most of his high school tape is at defensive end, though. Most of it. I just like bringing in team captains. I like bringing in guys who are leaders in the locker room, leaders in the weight room. It's important. So shout out to Keelan Rutledge, taking a shot, going to play, and seeing what we can do at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a sleeper team for me. Haynes King and the boys, I love everything they're doing. So More power to them. Now I'm going to jump to the chat. Thank you guys for being here once again. If you're watching on TikTok, move over, and I'll get to you guys. Let me pull up the chat here. Here we go. First thing I do, I always do super chats first, so we'll get to the rest of you guys. Thank you guys for being super chats. Thank you, T-Ray, for asking a question. He says, hey, Rico, NFL question. Was wondering if I could pick your brain on a thought of us Pats getting MHJ, then getting Daniels if available at 3. Your thoughts, please. So, first and foremost, THEN, then, like something that is about to happen. When you're comparing two things, THAN. So this is better than this, right? That's THAN when you compare two things. So this is happening in succession. It's an E. I really don't know about drafting, like trying to get those two players together doesn't make sense to me. The value of having to trade up and what you're going to lose in draft capital is a little immense. I know that quarterback is of concern for New England, but wide receivers, you're not. There's other options later in the draft. You don't need to pay that much for Marvin Harrison Jr. Quarterbacks are probably going to be really hard to pick from. I don't know if I would take Jaden Daniels in New England. I don't know if he can play in the cold. I've only seen him play in Phoenix, right, at Arizona State, and down in the South at LSU. I haven't seen him play in the cold. I would be hesitant to draft him in the cold. I would take a cold weather quarterback. I'd take a guy who either played high school ball up there, grew up there. Not everybody can play in New England, man. Not everybody can play in New England. You need to find somebody, I would say a Michigan quarterback, a Penn State quarterback, an ACC type quarterback, somebody who's been up in the cold and played and balled out. And I know that sounds crazy, but you know what? It's the truth. I just watched Tua, and if you guys don't believe me, if I go to my, I don't do a lot of NFL picks, but somebody asked me for an NFL pick in the playoffs, and it was the Dolphins and Kansas City. You guys know what I said in the Dolphins, Kansas City? I don't even provide analysis. Just look what I did in this to tell the MVPs who to bet on. Who would you bet on? What did I say?
RicoKnows here. Going to talk to you guys about the Miami Dolphins Kansas City Chiefs game. It's going to be at Kansas City. It's going to be at 8:16 Eastern, so in the evening time frame. I'm going to give it to you guys straight. Tua cannot play in the cold. I'm literally betting on the weather. I think Tua can't get it done in the cold. I think he's going to play a terrible game. I like the Chiefs to win this game at home. If they tell me it's going to be single digits.
So once I found out it was going to be single digits, I said I like the Chiefs at home. I don't care who Tua is. He can't play in the cold. That's how I feel about certain players. I don't know if they're built for the cold. So just something to think about when you guys start saying, who should we draft? I think weather needs to be taken into account sometimes. If not, you're going to be the Dolphins with a quarterback who can't get it done in the playoff months. So I hope they find somebody good. I hope they get good players. There are plenty of good wide receivers to get later in the draft as well. Quarterbacks, few and far between. So Drake May sounds really good. And if you think you can get Drake May later, then trade back and get more draft capital and get him a little later. But Drake May looks like he can play in that weather. Obviously, McCarthy kid can play in that weather. Don't know if he can lead a team or anything. But it's just my 2 cents on that. I would probably lean towards somebody who's played in the northeast before, because it'll be a mother until we get indoor fields everywhere. It's a mother. All right, back to chat. Willie Bobo says, "What up, Rico? It's your boy Willie. What up, Willie? I'm just doing the Willie. Good afternoon, Rico. Good afternoon, Jabron Fuller. Yo, Rico, it's J Dub up in here. What up, J Dub? Told you I'ma check in, bro. Okay." Hey, all you guys tell me you're going to check in. I just appreciate when it actually happens. What up, Rico? Ex-college football player here. Shipping out to boot April 15th. Kyle W. Otis. Shout out to you. He's telling you he's an ex-football player, and he's going to go to boot camp. Now, when you go to basic training or boot camp's the Marines, basic training's the Army. When you go to basic training, if you're an ex-football player, just think of your drill sergeants as coaches. They're just yelling and giving you different plays you got to follow, different directives, and just be better than all your teammates. That's all there is to it. Just it's a dog-eat-dog world. It ain't really teamwork, man. It ain't teamwork makes the dream work. Just be better than everybody. That's how I am. Hoping you get to discuss Derek Graham today. I did Evan Kramer, shout out to you. Evan Kramer is a student at Troy, and obviously I think very highly of Derek Graham. Here he is, the Troy tackle, or the Troy offensive lineman that transferred to Texas A&M. First time a true freshman's ever started at Troy. Shout out to him for knowing that. Of course, Evan Kramer knows every player on his team. Looks like you did the same type of background as your brother Morentz. Mikey Too Real, not at all. I've never seen his background, but I can tell you my background is 2 canvases that were custom made. Shout out to the beautiful Kim Jones for making that happen. This isn't just a bunch of t-shirts thrown on the wall, boxed up. We don't get down like that. What up, Mike Schmidt? Good to see you, player. Parker Brailsford will be the best lineman in the country next year under the Bama Strength Program. We turn boys into men. If you didn't know, Mike Schmidt is a millionaire, hooked on drugs, and works at Alabama. What else about you, Mike? You're a very unique individual. I don't know. Mike's just been a part of the channel. I have people who are here no matter when I'm filming, no matter what I'm talking about. It is what it is. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. If you're asking questions, get over to YouTube. Ask it. I can't see your chat. Thank you guys for being here. What up? All right. Hey, Ty Kozad. Where do I know you from, Ty? That name looks familiar. Ty Kozad. Are you a player in the portal? Are you a high school player waiting for a high school film review?
Yes.
That's what you are.
Yes.
You're a player on the waiting list waiting for a high school film review. Shout out to everybody waiting for a high school film review. I do them every day. I do at least 2 a day. If you are in the top 2 bidders, you will get a video made. I don't know where you're at on the list, Ty. I just remember the name. Shout out to you. Isn't that crazy, bro? I can just look at a kid and go, yo, you're a high school player. I remember you. All right. Nonetheless, let me get back to the show, get back to the offensive lineman, and we'll keep it popping. You guys keep dropping in your questions, and we'll figure it out from there. Lennon Wood, football commit. Congratulations. Shout out to you, Ty. Do your damn thing. I'll be reviewing your tape soon enough, I'm sure. If not, increase your donation. We'll get to it. So just talked about all these offensive linemen that are currently enrolled in school. Now we're going to talk about offensive linemen that are committed to schools, some of the best that I have yet to talk about, and we'll go from there and their fit. I'm trying to bring up the chart before I go bring you guys back on. I apologize. It is a one-man show. I don't have a producer. I don't have somebody changing angles on things. I don't have none of that, bro. It's just me. One guy asked me, Rico, who's your team? Who do you got behind you? This guy was asking me this on Twitter just yesterday. I'm doing an interview on Friday for one of these Denver, Colorado Bronco, or what? Not Broncos. Colorado Buffalo channels. They make content for the Colorado Buffaloes. They want to interview and ask me about my story. Ask me about my journey and how I became a content creator and how did I get all this information from all these players. And it's like, well, I study really hard, but more importantly, the players trust me and just talk to me. And they drop me DMs and they give me their information. And since I do high school film reviews, I'm making a video about a player while he's in high school. Now I rock with him. He rocks with me. And now when he gets to college, all of a sudden I know all the college players. Like there's a young man I just did a film review on 3 days ago. I said this is the best high school film I've ever seen of a freshman. Best tape I've ever seen in my life. Put it out there. Georgia just offered him today. I'm not saying Georgia offered him today because of me, but I'm just saying I found him before Georgia. Because Georgia offered him today. Shout out to him and his mom. Shout out to all the players and their parents who reach out to me. By the way, I did make a video. Some people have been asking about it. I made a video where I saw some very terrible high school football players in Oklahoma. And I made note of how terrible the players were. I don't care. Listen, if you pay me to make a video, don't think I can be bought. You're not paying me to be nice to you. You're not paying me to give you some glowing recommendation and get you some pub. If it looks like trash, I'm going to let you know. This shit don't look good, bruh. You're out here playing against damn Three Stooges. Look like some lemmings running around on the field. Look like Teletubbies out there in damn pads. Kids look terrible. I let them know. Yes, they paid for that video. Yes, the father paid $100. Was it $100? $100 to move to the front of the line. He paid $100 to get a video made on his son. And the boy got trashed. He did not get trashed. The opposition got trashed. But if you pay me $100, I don't give a thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm going to tell the truth. He immediately wrote me back, was like, I really wish you could have done this differently. Did it? You know what type of parents those are, bro? The type I don't want to deal with, dude. The type I don't want to deal with. I already know you. You're telling the coach how to run plays. You want to have a talk with the coach in the parking lot after the game. I already know you. You don't like the product I created. Move on. So then he writes me this morning, Rico, is there any way I could get you to take that video down? Bro, it's got 200,000 views. Yeah, but I don't want the coach to see it. I don't want so-and-so to see it. All right, dude. I made my money. I'm good. If you guys can't handle the truth, don't come to the fountain, bro. Don't come to the fountain of truth. You can't drink from this faucet. He thought he was sipping from a damn water fountain. I'm a damn fire hydrant. Try drinking from a fire hydrant, buddy. Try it. I don't recommend it, but try it. It is what it is. Couldn't handle the truth. You know who else couldn't handle the truth? Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor, leaving Alabama, headed back home to Iowa. He can't handle the truth. He don't want to be down there in the South, bro. He went down to the SEC, got smashed in the face, said, yo, I'm out this joint. Obviously, he was getting tampered with. Alabama's been tampering with a lot of people. Iowa did it right back to him. More power to him. 6'7", 360, huge man, started as a true freshman. Don't tell me he sucks. Don't do it. You had nobody better than him on your team. You had nobody better than him on the roster. He's good enough to start at your school. He can start at others. Shout out to Caden Proctor. Welcome back home. Do your thing. Talked about all these guys in the first episode, all the way till we get to Nate. Nate Calippo here, leaving Washington, going to Ole Miss. Now, Nate's good. He's from Rainier Beach, Washington. Coming out of high school, I can remember I was reading these lists. There's this thing called the Northwest Nugget 7, or Northwest Nugget. Yeah, Northwest Nugget. There are 7 seniors that are identified as Northwest Nuggets, like Golden Nuggets, and he was one of them. He was one of the 7. He's good, man. He's good. He was a Northwest Golden Nugget. He started 3 games at left guard and then started everything else at right guard, I think, or vice versa. But he started all his games at left and 1 game at right guard, something like that. Michigan State, he had to switch. I'm watching Michigan State. I'm like, where'd his number go? He's on the other side due to injuries and stuff. But he's 6'6", 327 as a guard, huge man. Ole Miss doesn't care. Ole Miss is just going to get all the best players they can and let them all figure it out. Ole Miss does not promise you anything. Just bring them in. Ole Miss is obviously giving out bags. Don't care what you want to do. And that's how they're getting down. So, congratulations to Nate going to Ole Miss. I hope they give you some playing time. Doesn't really matter. They gave you money. They gave you money. You don't need the playing time, I guess. Omar here. Talked about him in the second episode. Zeke in the first. Nichols in the second. And now we're at Ashante Cole. Ashante Cole I know nothing about. I never heard of him until I started prepping for this show. Ashante Cole is coming from Grambling State. You see that G there. That's not Georgia. Grambling State, they just fired their head coach, Hugh Jackson. He just got fired, former Browns coach. Hugh Jackson should not be hired anywhere, by the way. But here we go. So he leaves Grambling State, and he's headed to La Tech. So I'm like, man, this gave this guy 3 stars. Cool. He's ranked above a bunch of other dudes. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, Jerquin Scott's been starting at Southern Miss for many, many years. What are we doing? So I go look at Ashante Cole, and check this out, bro. You guys want to see Ashante Cole? This is not him. This is not him. This is not him. Ashante Cole. Check this out. I apologize. I like to keep things open. I thought he'd be there. Look at this arm, okay? The arm, first thing. Definition on his arm. This is an athlete, bro. This is an athlete. He said draft party 2026. Look at this man right here. Dunking a basketball. Bro, offensive lineman dunking a basketball is 6'4". He's 6'4" and dunking a basketball. Give me a break. He's 315 pounds. This is an athlete. I watched his high school tape. I watched his huddle film. Solid. All the way around. It doesn't show up. They want me to log in. Get out of here. I looked up his huddle film. I guess this link doesn't work. Think he's good all the way around. Very good football player. Shout out to Ashante Cole. He'll obviously be starting at La Tech. I believe so. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. He is good. Very good. Shout out to Red River High School. He's from Louisiana. Coshada, how do you know how to say that, babe? Coshada? It's a Louisiana town. We don't know how to pronounce those things. Josh Preeb, by the way, that was the beautiful Kim Jones. She just made a cameo on the show. Josh Preeb, I already talked about him in episode 2. Nolan Ricci, former 5-star, knocked him down, leaving Wisconsin, going to Penn State. This is the son of an NFL football player. He was, his dad played 8 seasons in the NFL. His brother played at Wisconsin back in 2019 as a tight end. This kid is supposed to be the star of all stars. 6'8", 300 pounds. But was a backup left tackle at Wisconsin. Remember, he got signed at Wisconsin, not by Luke Fickell and the boys. He didn't want to go there for them. They weren't hitting the guys who recruited him for many, many years. But he still went there because his brother went there. And then he found out, you know what? I don't like it here. I'm going to go to Penn State. Obviously, closer to home. He's a PA kid. So congratulations. Shout out to Warwick High School. Going to go do your thing. Good luck. Everybody getting excited about it, but I don't see a definite starter. Hope he can eventually get there, though. Jerkwin Scott, Blackstar, all these guys talked about in the first episode, all the way till I get to Lou Blue. You hit, it's going to repeat the list because their programming sucks. Lou Blue. I said Lou Ba. I talked about him in the second episode. And now we're at the new guys. Tanner Miller here, leaving Oregon State, going to Michigan State. Tanner Miller's former 0-star kid. From Valencia, California, one year of eligibility remaining, 6'1", 187. So being 6'1", maybe 260 in high school, they didn't think very highly of Tanner Miller. Fine. This is an automatic starter for Michigan State. This is one of the better linemen in the portal, and they have him ranked down here. Look how far ranked he is. Like, I'm trying to tell you guys, Victor Cutler had no business being at Ohio State. Now that he's going to Louisville, I don't even think he can play at Louisville. He's a ULM kid. Victor Cutler has no business ranked ahead of Tanner Miller. None of these guys. It's embarrassing how they do these rankings and what they're doing. Tanner Miller was an All-American. Mid-season AP All-American, ESPN All-American this year. He's played in 40 games. Showed up as a 0-star and proved to everybody you got it wrong. Second team All-Pac-12. You got it wrong. This is the guy. So he jumps in the portal. Florida State immediately reaches out. He ignores them, bro. Hangs up the phone. NIL ain't going to dictate shit. I'm out of here. Tanner Miller says, nah, I'm not doing it. I am loyal to one person, Coach M. Jim Mitchell-Zek, or whatever his name is, the offensive line coach. I don't mean to get names wrong. I apologize. I just can't pronounce certain names. I'm Mexican. And it's not in my vernacular. It's not in my lexicon. Like, I just don't know. Mitchell-Zach or something. He's the offensive line coach for Michigan State now. The bond between Tanner Miller and him is amazing. This guy took no trips. I ain't got to take trips nowhere, bro. Michigan State's my school. Jumped in the portal, said, I'm going with my coach. I'm here. I'm doing it. So he's definitely starting. That's awesome. Shout out to Gino Vandermark. You guys remember Vandermark? He's a guard. He's going to be starting right next to him. I think Michigan State's offensive line is going to be pretty good next year. They had trouble this year with their offensive line not being very good. Not going to be a problem next year. I think they've addressed it. Michigan State has the right players, and they have a really good coaching staff. I like Michigan State's offensive line next year. I don't know how many games they're going to win or anything like that, but that part feels right. Diego Pounds. What a name, Diego Pounds. He was on my all-name team before the season started. Diego Pounds has grown 2 inches since high school. He's now 6'7", 330 pounds, leaving North Carolina, going to Ole Miss. Once again, Ole Miss does not care if you think you're coming to start. We'll figure it out later. Straight out of Millbrook High School, 2 years of eligibility. Diego should start. Maybe. You don't know. Ole Miss just has so many great players on the offensive line. They just brought in a bunch of dudes. They don't care. Look at Julius is right here. I'm talking about 3 guys now. And they have more. They're just bringing them in. And they don't care, dude. But Diego did start at North Carolina, starting left tackle. PFF grades got better with each game. It's going to be out of Pounds, and I think Scott, Jerkwin up here, Jerkwin Scott, We're gonna have to figure some shit out, see where they move these guys. But it's just quality players that they're just signing all over the place. It's Lane Kiffin does not care who you are, what you are. We're just gonna get a bunch of dudes in the room and we can figure it out from there. It's pretty cool. Either him or Micah Petras, who got injured this year, he was done for the season. He might come in to start. There's a bunch of guys, bro. It's real. Micah Mazkua leaving Florida, going to Nebraska. A bunch of drama here. I don't like Mazkua's. I don't like. If I was running a transfer portal, a recruiting team, if you will, Mazkua would not be on my draft board. He would not be on my transfer board. Like, I wouldn't pick him. Number one, I watched him just make one of the most egregious decisions this past season. There was a fight with South Florida or Charlotte. It was with Charlotte. And this dude just attacked him for no reason. I mean, not no reason. They're arguing, they're fighting. There's no reason to do it, though. And he just goes in and jumps in a fight. He got suspended for a game, half a game, because of it. He just has a temper. Oh, Rico, we want offensive linemen with a temper. No, it's in between the whistles. I want intelligent offensive linemen. He doesn't come across that way. He also transferred from Baylor to Florida, and he was upset with his playing time or the way he was being treated while injured. He jumped in the transfer portal and threatened to leave Florida. And he had just gotten there. He transferred in the winter and was threatening to leave the school by the spring. And they ended up talking him out of the portal coming back to school. But I just don't like everything about him. Now, he's going to Nebraska. His brother's a walk-on. Maurice Mazkua is going to walk on at Nebraska. So you're going to Nebraska. You're going to a coaching staff that you potentially know because they were at Baylor. Shout out to Matt Rule. So you know the guys, you feel comfortable around them. But hopefully it's a good fit for Nebraska. But me personally, this is a guy that's just not somebody I want on my team. Not from my assessment. Outside looking in, nah. It's just not worth it. Not worth rocking the boat like that. Michael Carmarty, former four-star kid, leaving Notre Dame, going to UCLA. I don't get it. You can't play at Notre Dame. You can't play at UCLA. Couldn't play at Notre Dame. Couldn't see the field. Going to go to UCLA. Somebody convinced you're a Power 5 guy. Nothing you've done on the field warrants this. I don't get it at all. This is a guy who used to be a 4-star. Now he's a 3-star. 6'5.5", 291 pounds. I turn on the tape. He looks skinny. I know that sounds crazy, but he does. And when you are an offensive lineman and you look skinny, it means you have a narrow frame. It means you don't have a strong base. You got really small legs, long build, lean build. None of this bodes well when you're trying to block other men. First team All-State tight end and out of high school. So he's a converted tight end, power forward on the basketball team. Defensive line in high school, he looked great. He looked athletic, but he's thin. He's thin, 6'5.5". They say 291, probably 280. They lied about the weight. He just doesn't look the part. It looks like he hasn't gained the right amount of weight and lifted. Julius Bulo. I'm sorry, I apologize for getting the name wrong. Huge man. Says interior offensive lineman. I don't know how. He's 6'8", 313 pounds. That is a huge man. 6'8", 313. 3-time All-State coming out of Hawaii. Enrolled at Washington. Immediately became a starter. Can be moved anywhere on the offensive line. He's been at left guard. Started the final 8 games, I think, at left guard. He's a good player. Ole Miss got a good one. And then the inverse, right? Jalen Clem, not a good player. I told you guys he would not work out at all at Washington. I knew this coming in. He transferred in from Kansas State. He's the son of a former NFL player or a coach, if I remember correctly. You know what? I don't want to be wrong, so let me. It could be both. Maybe they got it down here. Yeah, here we go. His father, offensive lineman, played for the. Look at this. When they start giving you your dad's whole resume, the associate head coach at Oregon, you don't want to go play for your dad. You start getting the whole resume from your dad. I mean, somebody called the website and provided all the information. Make sure you guys let them know who my dad is. Look, dude, I don't give a shit. Silver spoon. I'm not buying it. You went to K-State. You weren't built from Kleiman's cloth. You go to Arizona State. Now you're going to Arizona. You went to Washington, didn't see the field. Now you're going to Arizona State. Why? You know what you got to ask yourself? Why aren't you going to Alabama? Why didn't the coaching staff believe in you? Why aren't we going to Alabama? Because he's not cut like that, bro. He's not real. And yes, going to Arizona State, you need to do that. Let's talk about it for a second. If you guys don't remember last season, Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, the new head coach, he did an interview and he said, is there anybody on campus over 300 pounds that would like to play special teams? Is there anyone on campus over 300 pounds that would like to play special teams? Because they were just hurting for offensive linemen, and they wanted their linemen to get a break on extra points, field goals, and punts. So they were like, hey, can we just get anybody in here? Asking the student population on campus, would anybody in here be willing to be at offensive line? So they've been looking for bodies. So hopefully this guy will come in and block for some of those special teams plays, but I just don't see it, man. Not impressed with Clem, not in the slightest. Jalen Travis leaving Princeton. This says Iowa State. Now, I think he's going to Duke. I can't tell, but I think he's going to Duke, and I think the websites have it wrong. I think Jalen Travis flipped to Duke. I could be wrong. It says Iowa State. Maybe he flipped from Duke. He's going to Iowa State, January 25th. Okay. So, yeah, he's going to Iowa State. Congratulations. So, let me rethink how I want to talk about this. This man is 6'9", 315. Went to De La Salle High School from Minneapolis, Minnesota. When I say De La Salle, not Concord, California. Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think he flipped to Duke or flipped to Iowa State. And for me, he's a possible starter. Let me phrase. He's a possible starter. They have conflicting information on this young man everywhere. I tried to go find tape on him, and he was either first team or second team all Ivy League. I can find in some spots it says second team, some spots first team. Could be different publications and things. But he's supposed to be a good player. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. Been starting for 2 years. Been playing for a long time. Hey, man, educated. Obviously, you got your degree from Princeton. Would expect him to go to a school like Duke, which is I thought where he was going. And now he's going to Iowa State. Go do your thing. Iowa State needs some help. They got a good run. They got a good running game, good offensive line. More power to you. Talked about all these guys in previous episodes 1 and 2, if you wanted to know. Next person I'm going to be talking about is Rasheed Miller, so when I get to him, let me know. I see him. He's right here. Rasheed Miller leaving Georgia Southern, offensive tackle, going to Louisville. Got 1 year of eligibility left. I think Louisville doesn't care if he plays or not. He's 6'7", 310, 1 year of eligibility. Go to Louisville. Congratulations. Coming out of high school, he's supposed to go to Western Kentucky, flip to Georgia Southern. I live really close to Georgia Southern. Shout out to Statesboro. But when he went to Georgia Southern, they were a run-oriented team. And then they switched to a pass-oriented team like crazy. If you guys didn't know, they throw the ball like some of the most you've ever seen. Because they hired Clay Helton, former USC head coach. And Clay Helton's running his brother's offense. Tyson Helton, the Western Kentucky head coach. So, Georgia Southern all of a sudden becomes his passing thing. This young man started all 13 games for Georgia Southern, second team all Sun Belt, only allowed 4 sacks this year. Now, you might think allowing 4 sacks is a big deal. With the amount of times Georgia Southern throws the ball, and Davis Brin at quarterback from Tulsa, who led the country in interceptions, like Davis Brin is back there. He's going to get sacked. I think Rasheed Miller is a fine offensive lineman. I just don't know if he's starting. I hope he is, because why would you want to transfer your final year and not be a starter? Michael Tarquin, this guy is convinced he belongs at a Power 5 school. Plays like shit everywhere. Play underwhelmingly, performs everywhere he goes, but he keeps getting Power 5 offers. He must be doing something right. 6'5", 300 pounds. Used to play at Florida. He was at Florida. He started 10 games at left guard, 10 games at left tackle. Then he left. He goes to USC this year, started 8 games at right tackle at USC, and now he's transferred to Oklahoma. Oklahoma needs linemen like crazy. They're struggling to find linemen. They need replacements. They got a whole concoction of backup, vagabond, traveling linemen of some sort. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's just a who's who of just randomness, and Michael Tarquin fits right in. So hopefully he can start and do his damn thing, but it is what it is. Josh Atkins going from Hawaii to Arizona State. Another guy going to Arizona State that I think is just a body. 6'4", 290. They just need big bodies. If you didn't pay attention, Arizona State also got Joey Sua from Arkansas. He's 6'4", 315. They got Shanku. Forget his last name. Shanku from New Mexico State, 6'2", 346. Big body dudes they're getting. But Josh Adkins was at Houston for 2 years. Never saw the field. Then transferred to Hawaii. Finally saw the field. And now he's transferring back to Arizona State. I don't think he's good enough to play at the Power 5 level. I think there's a reason you weren't on the field at Houston. Now, if you go back and study Houston's offensive line for the last 3 years, studs everywhere. Literally dominating offensive linemen at Houston at one point. Their 5 were just so good. That's when they had, Clayton Tune at quarterback, Tank Dell at wide receiver. They were just getting a very good caliber of player at Houston. Dana Holmgren still found ways to lose games, but Houston's offensive talent was out of this world, and Josh Adkins was on the bench during that time frame. So shout out to him. Here's a stud lineman that everybody needs to understand. Luke Newman going to Michigan State out of Holy Cross. Final year of eligibility. Luke Newman is 6'4", 310. He's just trying to figure out if he's an NFL player. Very, very good. Initially, oh, by the way, recruiting websites. I know it's still. Look at this. Look at this. They predicted Vanderbilt, and he's going to Michigan State. How embarrassing, bro. And they leave it up. These bums. Anyways, he didn't go to Vanderbilt. He went to go play at Michigan State because they have an amazing offensive line coach. I already talked about this. But Luke Newman is a two-time FCS All-American. All-Patriot League guy, stud. 38 career games at Holy Cross. I think he's a stud and a half. NFL caliber all day. He will be starting. Michigan State's going to have a really good offensive line. You heard it here first. Michigan State, really good offensive line. Zach Greenberg, I know nothing about this kid. I had to go study about him all day long. I had to go study Zach Greenberg. This is because he's coming from a school named Muhlenberg, Division III school. Division III, 0 stars to 3 stars, no, because he's going to North Carolina. So they assume he's a 3-star kid. I went back and tried to find what I could. Let me just say this. He had offers from ECU, Troy, so East Carolina, Troy, and UConn. And then he goes and chooses North Carolina. I think he should have went to ECU or Troy, not North Carolina, because there's just something about the echelon that you're going to at North Carolina, and I don't know if you're good enough. Zach Greenberg, out of high school playing football and lacrosse, tried to do as much research, but I'm telling you guys, here's what I learned. His freshman year at Muhlenberg, he was all-conference, and he was the team MVP as a freshman offensive lineman. That's very impressive. But in 2022, he was injured, didn't finish the season. And then 2023, last year, he bounced back. He made first-team all-conference, but still, it's just one of these things where, like, North Carolina brought in 27 recruits in this recruiting class. And when you see players like Diego Pounds leaving or other offensive linemen coming in and leaving North Carolina, it's always these 4- and 5-star kids with a huge recruiting emphasis, and then you got a guy right here, a hidden gem. I don't think he meshes well. I think he probably belonged at the group of 5 level. I'm not too excited about this move, but it is a Division III kid moving up to FBS. You can't hate it, bro. You can't hate it at all. Guerin Hatchett, I don't know if you guys know Guerin Hatchett. He's got a brother, younger brother, plays on the team as well. Another Hatchett brother. Landon went in the portal, but jumped back out, joined the team again. He's back on Washington. But Guerin is a good player. Once again, fringe level starter at Washington. Been at Washington for 4 years. Still has 2 years of eligibility left. But he couldn't really start. He does play sometimes at like tight end when they needed an extra lineman in at tight end position. But he couldn't really earn his keep because those big Samoan dudes are just better than him. This kid's from a small town near Canada, near the border. And he and his brother are beasts. But going to Oklahoma, hope you get your shot. Hope you get your shot to start. He can play any position. He can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. He's versatile, just not there. Look at this guy's picture, bro. The worst picture on 24/7 Sports ever. Look at this profile pic here. Micah Sahakin. I'm going to say his name is Micah Sahakin. Going to Duke from Cornell. He's a clown. He got his degree at Cornell, so he's a pretty smart kid. 6'6", 328, but you guys see it. What is this profile pic? Absolutely ridiculous. Crazy eyes. I do it sometimes, crazy eyes, but this dude did it in his profile pic, so we all have to see it. It's a little nuts. He got injured this year. He was all Ivy League, but he got injured, and he's not going to be playing next year. So he will be redshirting this upcoming season. He'll redshirt at Duke, just lift weights, rehab, and then he'll be ready to play next year. He has, I think, 1 year of eligibility left, but he's going to wait till next year, not playing this year at all. So there's no impact there from the transfer. Mike Barr is the next guy going to Duke from Lafayette. Now, if you guys don't know Lafayette, maybe you guys don't know the school, FCS, they were in the playoffs. So this is an FCS level team in the playoffs, a very good team, probably could beat some FBS level schools. And Mike Barr's coming over. He is a multi-year starter over there, 2-year starter at right tackle. I think he's a good player. So Duke going out, looking at Ivy Leagues, FCS level programs, getting the best players they can find. Shout out to Duke. And I think this is the last guy I want to talk about, and then I'll go to the chat, is Ruben Unjai leaving Houston, going to Louisville. Once again, that whole Houston offensive line and the whole team was just amazing back in the day, just a couple years ago. This is a young man, 1 year of eligibility left, 6'5", 310. Went to IMG back in 2018. He signed with Illinois, and then he transferred to Houston. That's if I'm doing that right. Jumped in the portal. USC was offering him. It is what it is, but he started at tackle for 11 games this year for Houston. This is a player. This is a guy that's on there, but he allowed 5 sacks. And they had an athletic quarterback in Donovan, right? Donovan Smith. So getting a guy sacked is not good, but Louisville needs depth. They need players, and the Braun brothers don't give a shit who they bring in. They're bringing as many players as they can and let the chips fall where they may. Those are all the offensive linemen in the transfer portal I'm talking about in this episode. I will jump to the chat, then we'll conclude the show. Thank you guys for being here. I got to go make some videos. Obviously, some things happened today, so let's get to it. Let's go back to the chat, show it here. What's up? What's up? Evan Kramer says, what team do you think has improved the most on the offensive line in the transfer portal, and who has been hurt the most? What a loaded question at this very moment. I will say this. At this very moment, when looking at the offensive linemen, and I'm looking back over it, I think I've done rankings like this before. Knee-jerk reaction says most improved offensive line from the transfer portal is Colorado. I would say Colorado, Ole Miss, and Purdue stick out, but not Purdue. Colorado, Ole Miss, and I think it's SMU, if I remember correctly. It could be Louisville. Yeah, Louisville and, okay, I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5 different teams. Offensive lineman, number 1 is Colorado. Whew. I think Oklahoma's getting rebuilt. Colorado, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, SMU. Those all stick out to me. And let's go one step further. I mean, Alabama did get one of the best centers out there. Alabama, transfer portal. There you go. Pretty tough question to answer on the fly if I want to be accurate and not miss anything, right? So that's tough. But thank you for the question, Evan Kramer. Next comment question is, Rico bringing the analysis like nobody else. Thank you, Bendejo. Okay. Thank you very much, Bendejo. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the tip. I appreciate you. And he says, Micah looks like a character from Harry Potter. Oh, that dude who's looking at us all scary. Yeah. Explain Jake Wiley's hair. Let me know what Jake Wiley's doing. I don't know what this is, but more power to him. Shit looks crazy to me, bro. That'd be embarrassing. I'm not one to talk about hair, but my goodness. Some of these kids, bro. Anyways, thank you guys for being here today. I thank you guys for joining me on my journey as I talk about the transfer portal. We try to address every single player in the portal. I don't think I've missed a single one when you do my show in the format that I'm doing it as episodes go. The next episode, unfortunately, I don't have a set schedule for these things because it takes me a while to update the roster, ensure I have all my background information on every player, and then it just keeps changing over and over and over. And I'm doing it by position group, so the next one will be defensive lineman. You guys will see me on live streams on TikTok, working at it really hard, trying to figure out where they're going and what they're doing, but it's not always that easy. The websites are filled with errors, so I gotta always cross my T's, dot my I's, check my P's and Q's, and double check it, triple check it. I don't want to be whoever those guys are on Twitter with all the errors. Mike Farrell, yeah, that dude's full of errors, bro. But I hope that's who you trust. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. You guys stay up. Thanks for supporting the channel. Peace.
Get the fuck back, I'm about to go crazy.
When they come, and they will, they'll come for you.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Oh, I thought the beast had wandered off.
You're missing the point. There's no throne. There is no version of this where you come out on top.
Let me infiltrate the beat, concentrate the heat. If you ain't on my level, fuck it, let me be. I'll be going till it's all in motion, talking killing rappers, then I hit my quota. And my train of thought is more a locomotive, talking reason for it, I got locomotives. Used to be on a revenge tip, on a stun on my ex and a friend's tip. I was Spider-Man whipping the black suit, I was powerful but almost lost Luke. Blurring the line between human and artist, try not to change but I swear it's the hardest. I swear when you're up they turn you to a target. Home was a trip, all I did when I'm talking. So, what it take to be an icon? All in your desktop, so I just might already be one. My me with the label, it feels on the table one sign, but I'm down for a free lunch. Just speaking my heat-seeking missiles of hits, but other than me, I see no heat exist. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green.